On the latest episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, he gave his take on the difference between Republicans and Democrats. Take a look.
Politics in this country is binary. You have to wear everything anyone on your side does. Republicans are the party of don't wear masks, kids in cages, lock her up, and Democrats are the party of every hypersensitive social justice warrior, woke story in the news.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
It all started on a Friday night episode of Real Time. The audience was laughing, but Bill Maher wasn't joking. He stood there, calm and sharp, and dropped a line that instantly cut through the noise. "Politics in America is binary," he said. "You wear everything your side does, even the stupid parts." And just like that, the gloves came off. He wasn't just talking about Republicans or Democrats, he was going after everyone. On one side, he said, Republicans are clinging to their anti-mask slogans, shouting, "Lock her up," like it's still 2016, turning rebellion into some kind of fashion trend. But then he flipped the script. Democrats? According to him, they're not off the hook either. They're the ones turning every social justice issue into a dramatic performance. Every protest becomes a selfie opportunity, every disagreement an emotional meltdown. And this wasn't just social commentary, this was an open challenge. He called it out for what it was: political cosplay, pretend fights over fake narratives, while the public stuck in the middle, watching it all like some chaotic reality show. It was bold, it was sharp, and it was just the beginning. By the way, before we continue, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us grow and share more intriguing stories. Now let's continue, because this only gets wilder. Then came the moment nobody expected. Bill turned his aim directly at The View. And not just the show, he singled out Joy Behar. One comment from her lit the fuse. She made a snide remark about Caroline Leavitt, Trump's new press secretary, reducing her entire role to being, in her words, a size 10. That was it. No mention of qualifications. No mention of her experience, just her body. And Bill Maher didn't let it slide. He went in hard. With that ice-cold delivery, he mocked the comment, flipping it back on Joy in brutal fashion. Is she really a 10? He asked, then let the silence hang. Joy Behar calls her a 10. How dare she objectify a woman with a rating system?
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
But then again, that's something typical. From a 1.5. The room froze. Social media exploded. The internet cheered. Clips of that one moment were everywhere. People weren't just laughing, they were calling it a long overdue slap of reality. But this wasn't just about one roast, it was about hypocrisy. Maher wasn't roasting for fun, he was sending a message. If you're going to throw shade, your own house better not be made of glass. And in that moment, Joy's entire stance crumbled. That's when things spiraled. The spotlight stayed on Joy, and the cracks started to show. As the dust started to settle, something even uglier came into focus. The View wasn't just having a bad moment, it was exposing its own double standard. Joy Behar had spent years on that couch, dishing out her opinions like they were gospel, but now, when she reduced a woman's White House role to her dress size, her co-host stayed silent. Alyssa Farah Griffin tried to pull things back to reality. She calmly pointed out Caroline Leavitt's actual resume, her political experience, her press work, her achievements, but Joy waved it off, like facts were just noise in the background of her hot take. She didn't care what Caroline had actually done.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that it's called, I mean, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America. There is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
In Joy's world, if you're on the other side, you're wrong by default. And that's when Bill Maher snapped. No yelling, no drama, just deadly calm and devastating precision. He called out the hypocrisy. How could someone who constantly preaches about female empowerment suddenly boil a woman down to her body? And then came the kicker. Twitter, especially woke Twitter, started spiraling. Some tried defending Joy. Others were flat out embarrassed, but all eyes were glued to the clip. It became the moment of the week. People weren't just entertained, they were fed up. Maher's takedown had cracked something open. What started as a roast turned into a reckoning, and Joy wasn't ready for what came next. It didn't stop there. Bill wasn't just going after one bad comment, he tore the whole system apart. He turned his attention to The View itself. It's called The View, he said, but really, it's the one approved opinion hour. And you know what? He wasn't wrong. Every time someone tries to offer a different opinion on that show, they get steamrolled. The second a co-host dares to say something that doesn't match the liberal script, they're mocked, dismissed, or straight up shut down. And guess who's always swinging first? Joy Behar. Even when it's someone on her own panel, like Alyssa trying to speak up, Joy doesn't want to hear it. She shuts it down, rolls her eyes, acts like any opinion outside her bubble is some kind of personal attack.
Politics in this country is binary. You have to wear everything anyone on your side does. Republicans are the party of don't wear masks, kids in cages, lock her up, and Democrats are the party of every hypersensitive social justice warrior woke story in the news. They're the party that disappears people or tries to make them apologize for ridiculous things.
It's not a debate show, it's a monologue with a rotating group of backup singers. And the irony? Joy constantly brands herself as some champion for women, some fearless feminist. But the second a conservative woman succeeds, she turns into a high school mean girl. If Caroline Leavitt had been appointed by a Democrat, Joy would be clapping like it was the second coming of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That hypocrisy that right there is what Maher called out with no mercy. And the internet, they weren't just watching, they were cheering him on. And here's where it really hit hard. Bill Maher didn't just roast Joy Behar, he exposed the entire game. He pointed out how, if Caroline Leavitt had been appointed by a Democrat, Joy would be leading the celebration. She'd be calling her brilliant, powerful, a symbol of progress. The media would be rolling out the red carpet, spinning headlines about the rise of a new feminist icon. But because Leavitt was picked by Trump, everything changed. Suddenly, her experience didn't matter. Her intelligence didn't matter. Her work under pressure at the White House? Completely ignored. Instead, Joy reduced her to a dress size. That's it. That's the whole argument. And that's what made Maher's words sting. He wasn't just throwing insults, he was exposing a rigged system. A world where women only get support if they say the right things, if they vote the right way, if they serve the right narrative. It's not about equality, it's about loyalty. Joy's criticism wasn't based on facts. It was personal, it was petty, and it reeked of jealousy. While Caroline was out there answering real press questions at the White House, Joy was still cracking the same old one-liners on daytime TV, surrounded by applause signs and forced laughter. And people noticed. They weren't just watching Joy get called out, they were watching years of fake empowerment crumble in real time. And then Joy tried to pivot hard. She dragged the conversation in a wild direction, bringing up Kamala Harris's laugh. Yes, her laugh. According to Joy, people who find Harris's laugh annoying must be, wait for it, misogynists. She actually said that, as if not enjoying someone's laugh now means you hate women. It was one of those moments where you could almost hear the collective eye roll across America. But Maher wasn't having it, and neither were others. The response was fast and brutal. Commentators pointed out the obvious. Disliking a laugh isn't misogyny, it's just disliking a laugh. And let's be honest, Harris's laugh has become a meme for a reason. But Joy? She twisted it into some gender theory lecture, accusing everyone of being afraid of funny women, even dragging in Hillary Clinton's old cackle criticism like it was a historical injustice. At this point, it wasn't political commentary, it was full-on nonsense. And the most hypocritical part? If someone on the right had reduced a Democratic woman's career to how she laughs or what she wears, Joy would have been flipping tables. She'd demand apologies, boycotts, maybe even someone's job. But when she does it, suddenly it's just a joke. Just a comment. That double standard wasn't just obvious, it was loud. And Maher, he made sure everyone heard it. But the moment that really sealed the deal was when Greg Gutfeld jumped in, and he didn't hold anything back. He took direct aim at Joy's comment about Caroline Leavitt and made it clear this wasn't just an insult to one woman. It was an insult to every woman who's worked her way up in politics, every woman who's fought to be taken seriously. He said what a lot of people were already thinking, according to Joy Behar's logic: you're only an empowered woman if you vote blue. It's not about your experience, your accomplishments, or your intelligence. It's about whether you say the right things, wear the right label, follow the right script. Leavitt got the job because she earned it. She showed up, did the work, and proved herself under pressure. But Joy didn't want to hear any of that. She just took a cheap shot, hoping it would land. Instead, it backfired big time. Gutfeld called it pathetic. He didn't dance around it. He said reducing a woman's work to how she looks is the exact opposite of feminism. And when the so-called champions of equality go silent about it because the target is conservative, it just proves what the game really is: loyalty over logic, team over truth. And that hit harder than any one-liner Joy could ever come up with. Then came the twist that made people pause and really look at what was happening. Joy Behar started ranting about election results and political mandates, and it all spiraled into confusion. She claimed Trump didn't win by enough to have a real mandate. But here's the thing, she wasn't even making sense. She mixed up popular vote percentages with electoral votes, tossing out numbers like confetti, completely ignoring how U.S. elections actually work. Trump won with 312 electoral votes. That's well above the 270 needed. That's not a squeaker, that's a clear win. Yet Joy was stuck on the 1.6% number from the popular vote, trying to twist it into some argument that didn't land. And while she fumbled through that mess, the internet pounced. Commentators were quick to point out how far off she was, not just factually, but logically. It was like she was just throwing out random stats to defend a position she couldn't back up. And the worst part? She did it all while still trying to dunk on Caroline Leavitt, who, unlike Joy, actually works in the White House and understands how the system functions. People started asking the obvious question: how is someone with this level of confusion allowed to sit on national television and talk politics every day? And the answer was staring everyone in the face. Because it's not about accuracy. It's about sticking to the script, even if it's wrong. But the moment that really sent people over the edge? That Costco story? Yes, Costco. Joy Behar went on The View and proudly shared that when she heard the news of Trump's conviction, she got so excited that she started leaking. Right there in Costco. In public, buying Keurig coffee. That's what she told the audience on national television, like it was some kind of heroic moment. People weren't shocked because of what happened, people were shocked that she bragged about it. She treated it like it was some symbol of passion or political commitment. But all it really showed was how emotionally unglued she's become over anything related to Trump. Even Megyn Kelly couldn't resist. She stepped in and absolutely torched the moment. Emotional overload in aisle 7, she said, ripping Joy for losing all sense of dignity just because Trump's name hit the headlines again. She mocked her for pretending to be this cool, composed intellectual, yet collapsing in public like a 3-year-old meeting Mickey Mouse at Disney. And she wasn't wrong. Joy's obsession with Trump has stopped being political, it's personal now. It's not analysis, it's emotional chaos disguised as commentary. And the worst part? If a conservative woman had said anything even close to that, Joy would have turned it into a week-long joke segment. But when she slips up, we're supposed to see it as passion? No, it's just embarrassing. And just when it felt like things couldn't get more ridiculous, Joy missed her chair. Literally. During a live taping of The View, she walked back to sit down, misjudged the swivel, and almost fell. The audience gasped. Cameras caught the awkward moment, and it quickly exploded online. But instead of owning it or laughing it off, Joy doubled down. Again. She followed it up with another Trump meltdown, as if blaming her balance issues on politics made it any less awkward. But the internet wasn't letting her off the hook this time. The spin machine tried to make it seem like it was just a funny little moment, just Joy being Joy. But people saw something else. A woman clearly rattled, unraveling on camera, desperately clinging to relevance by throwing punches at everyone but herself. Commentators weren't holding back. They pointed out how Joy loves to mock others, especially conservative women, anytime they make the smallest mistake. If a Republican had missed their chair or said something half as embarrassing, Joy would have built an entire comedy routine around it. There would have been clips, jokes, a dramatic takedown about how that woman was unqualified. But when it's her, silence. No humility, no reflection, just more angry rants and excuses. And by now, the audience had seen through it. The performance, the posturing, it all felt forced. This wasn't just someone having a bad day. This was someone who couldn't keep control of the narrative anymore. And it was all happening live. That's when the entire thing flipped into full-blown hypocrisy, and it was impossible to ignore. The same people who constantly preach about inclusion, fairness, and lifting women up suddenly went completely silent. No think pieces, no hashtags, no outrage. All because the target of Joy's insult, Caroline Leavitt, was a conservative. If someone on the right had reduced a woman's role to her dress size, The View would have spent a whole week tearing them apart. They'd be demanding apologies, pushing for cancellations, talking about misogyny in politics. But this time, nothing, just awkward silence and forced smiles. Meanwhile, Caroline Leavitt kept showing up at the White House, doing her job with professionalism and poise. She wasn't just some face in a photo op, she was handling real press briefings, taking tough questions, and proving exactly why she was chosen for the role. But Joy didn't want to talk about that. She didn't want to acknowledge Leavitt's experience or competence, she just threw shade and walked away. And that's the most insulting part. Not just to Caroline, but to every woman who's ever worked hard to be taken seriously in politics or any field. Because the message was loud and clear. If you're not one of them, you're not worthy. And people were fed up with it. The silence said everything. And then came the final blow, cold, clear, and impossible to ignore. While Joy Behar was busy mocking Caroline Leavitt's appearance, fumbling political facts, and spinning out in public over Trump, Caroline was doing the exact opposite. She was standing at the podium in the White House, cool under pressure, answering tough questions from national reporters without missing a beat. She didn't get the job because she smiled for a photo or wore the right dress. She earned it. But Joy couldn't see past her own bitterness. She called Caroline a size 10 like that was some sort of insult, like it canceled out years of hard work. She didn't attack her policies. She didn't challenge her ideas. She just went straight for the cheap shot, because that's all she had. And the truth? It wasn't about Caroline's resume, it was about control. It was about politics. Because if Leavitt had been a liberal, Joy would have been clapping. She'd be calling her the future of feminism, a rising star, a voice of her generation. Instead, because Caroline's on the other side, she's branded a pretty face and nothing more. And that's what really got people angry, not just the insult, but the fake feminism behind it. At the end of the day, Joy's been sitting on that couch for decades. Caroline just walked into the White House. And no matter how loud Joy shouts over her co-hosts, that fact isn't going away. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Also, drop your thoughts in the comments. See you on the next one.